Hey, what's up, Thrive Chapel? This is Sean, and we're excited to be in the midst of this ABCs of Financial Freedom series. And if you've been tracking along with us in the Sunday morning messages and reading along in the book and even inside of the small group study within these workbooks, my prayer is that you have been tracking along in these ABCs of truly setting your focus to the ABCs of how you could achieve financial freedom. So we started this series looking at our attitudes and how sometimes our mindsets on the subject of money can sometimes need some just recorrection and some re-gauging for future. Secondly, we looked at the bondage of debt and how sometimes it's the subtleties of just basic decisions we make day in and day out that keep us in a place of debt. Thirdly, we looked at the choice that we need to make to put God at the center of our lives financially, with putting Him first, with our best of all, our increase. And then last week we've been looking at the decision to be generous with our lives. And if you're anything like me, in the midst of creating a new habit and a new spiritual discipline within our lives, along the way we need some encouragement. So it's within friendships like these that we can provide the accountability and the counsel to go forward and realize our financial freedom. Also being able to encourage each other along our own tracks. Now, if you missed the first week of the series, when Tara and I shared our story within the Attitude Week, that we had to walk through just some attitude changes, and as we were achieving our financial freedom, at the very end, as we saw the light at the end of the tunnel of becoming debt-free finally, I felt like the Lord was speaking to me three very clear and specific things that we were supposed to do with our debt payments once we got out of debt. Those three things were, first, in our first month of becoming debt-free, we were to take that debt amount and give an offering to the church as kind of just a thanksgiving offering to say, God, thank you for walking us through our debt payoff, as keeping you first with the tithe, that you walked us through our financial freedom. So as a gift, instead of making this money payment on debt this month, we gave that as an offering to our church. Well, secondly, the Lord said to go and splurge it and spoil ourselves for a year and a half of really consecrating ourselves and setting aside everything we could to pay this debt off. And the third thing He said was He asked us to pray for a couple that we could help give a seed offering to help them realize their road to financial freedom, help them to realize the opportunity and possibility for it. So Tara and I prayed, and it was Jacob and Hannah Ouelette that the Lord brought to our mind and our heart as to, we didn't know their situation, their details, but we felt like the reality was probably there because we saw the same kind of writing on the walls that was in our life. So as we wrote the check and mailed it to them, one day they got this check, and I wanted them to kind of share their encouragement as an encouragement to us today in our own ABCs of financial freedom, of what a heart of generosity and giving to the world around us can really do for us in our lives.
Yeah, well, first of all, that was such a generous, huge, generous, mind-blowing gift. And still to this day, I remember realizing that's one of the most generous things anybody has ever done for us. And so that generosity really just was mind-blowing. But I think one of the things that his gift and his story did for us was show us that financial freedom is possible. Because technically at the time, he was making a little less. We were almost at the same place, both youth pastors, but technically it was a little less. And I always thought you have to make a lot of money to be able to pay down money. But what you showed us is that's not true. You basically undercut that excuse, and you gave us the courage to say you can start paying down debt now. And we literally took the principles that you taught us and paid thousands of dollars of debt off. And so I just want to encourage you out there, if you think that you have to make a lot more money to be able to pay down debt, just start where you're at. Just start doing what you can with what you have. And I'm telling you, the financial freedom that comes in your life is worth the temporary pain, and it is possible. You've shown us, and that gift of generosity, I'm telling you, was amazing. And the Lord was also, as we were getting financially free and all these things, the Lord was encouraging us to replicate that. And we actually gave a truck to somebody we felt led to give a truck away to. And so the Lord has recently, there's probably a 5-year waiting period, but somebody gave us a vehicle just about a year ago as well. And so really, I feel like there's been this financial miracle that started with you and some of the things that you taught us, and we're just so grateful.
And one of the things I love too about the Ouelette story, even with our story, is the decisions you make today impact lives in the future, lives you're not even aware of yet. So as we were unbeknownst as youth pastors, not even knowing where the Lord was going to lead us, eventually we went on to start Thrive Chapel, and you went on to leave the area of Michigan that you were living in to start a church of your own.
Yeah.
And tell our church a little bit about that church.
Yeah, so Thrive Church, we started just 2.5 years ago. And so things are going well. We're in the same process and planting a church just like you guys are, but we're really excited to just cheer each other on, I guess, and just see what you're doing and all the we knew back then when Sean was a youth pastor, we knew that God had marked him to do incredible things. You and Tara, just incredible leaders even back then. And I've gone around telling so many people, Sean is such an incredible thinker and strategizer, leader, humble, generous. And so I know you didn't tell me to say this, but we're really grateful and just believe in you and all the things that God's using you to do.
So Thrive, my prayer today and for us in this season is that we would look forward to the lives we can touch by living our lives within reason, within responsibility, by putting God first with the centrality of the tithe and looking for ways to give seed offerings to affect the lives around us, that there's so much more to the story that we don't even see yet of God's plan for our life. If we can live within our means today, we can look to be responsible and affect the lives of tomorrow. I'm honored that we're in this journey together, and something as easy as ABC can give us a place of financial freedom to truly be generous to lives around us and impact lives for eternity. May you be encouraged today by this simple story to make your own story that'll affect lives in your future.